Shalom. Welcome to the first official week of the Elul boot camp. Today and this week, we are going to focus on the theme. As I said before, relationships is the main focus of this boot camp. And this week will be relationships with other people, sort of what we usually think of when we think of the word relationship. But in thinking about this kind of as a focus on our actions for the year, you might imagine that we would start with ourselves, right? How can we think about relationships with other people before we think about ourselves? We'll see a little bit later what the idea behind this is. And I will say, what it isn't is a saying that ourselves are not important. When we get to the part about relationship with ourselves, we will see that that is a very big part of it. This is not about losing yourself or forgetting your perspective. Okay, here's the exercise, and then you can look at some of the material surrounding this video to get a little bit more depth as to where it's coming from. First, think of 5 people that you have relationships with. Now, if you have people you're particularly close with or dear to, then include them, but don't include more than 3 people in that category, because at least 2 of them should be people you have more of a not so close relationship with, coworkers perhaps, if that's something that jibes. If there's somebody that you can think of that is certainly someone you know, but not someone you have a deep sharing relationship with. Also, if there is someone in your life that you feel some animosity with, you don't have to choose them, but if you do, think of them, especially if it's a particularly difficult relationship, which, we can all find someone, but if it's meaningful to you, then include them amongst your first few as well. What are we going to do? So this is very simple, and it could be as direct or as deep as you want to take it. There are 3 moments I would like us to think of for each of these 5 people. 1, what was your most memorable moment with this person this year? Memorable is exactly what it sounds like. Something that comes to mind first. For example, if it were a friend, you could say, we went out to a baseball game together and it was a lot of fun. That was memorable. 2, what was the most significant moment? Now, that moment that's memorable could also be significant, but it doesn't have to be. Maybe that memorable moment was just fun, but you realize that the most significant moment is when this friend called you up to tell you about something really important in her life, something like that. And if it is the same moment, is there something that makes it more significant than memorable, or that you see differently looking at it through the lens of what is significant? Don't get too caught up in the jargon. Just follow your thoughts as to what significant means, something meaningful beyond just what sticks out in your mind. And 3, what is a moment with that person that you would do differently? And like the other one, it could be the same moment. All of them could be the moment, right? If your memorable moment was you went out to a baseball game, maybe you would have left before the 9th inning. Probably that's not going to be your choice. But think of something. And as you may guess, the idea of doing something different is kind of putting a little bit of a handhold on the idea of teshuvah, the idea of actually thinking about our actions and changing them. But don't go too far. Just whatever you think and say, this is something I would do differently. So there'll be more information accompanying this video, but that's it in terms of the assignment. Other than to say, it doesn't have to be long, it could be a couple of phrases. And it could be long if that's what you like to do. I imagine some of you are journalers, and this will feel very much like a journal entry, which is fine. Some of you, like me, really never journal on command. I find it very difficult. And for you and for us, a few phrases is absolutely fine. The other thing is, if it helps you to be in a kind of mindful state before going into this exercise, again, if you're a natural meditator, um, feel free to use that kind of technique beforehand. If not, if you are like me, someone who struggles to really feel at home in meditation and quiet my mind, just take a moment, just center yourself. Um, there are lots of techniques, some of which you may have learned elsewhere, but one in terms of this is just to quiet your mind, not to try to push into a certain direction, just to, focus on being, on breathing in and out, as you might guess. Let it come to you. And of course, the three rules, very important, always. Don't worry, dig deep, and be kind to yourself, especially thinking about these relationships. Be kind to yourself, even as you dig deep, and don't worry. I look forward to seeing what you have. You can send the written part of it, obviously, you can send directly to me. You do not have to share it with the group, but if you would like to, you can. If you'd like to share an insight, not the whole assignment, you absolutely can. And you don't have to share the finished product with me or the group. You can do this for yourself and just share with me a thought that came out of it. But I'd like something before the end of the week that came out of it. About halfway through the week, I'm going to look at what I imagine some of them will come in, not all of them, and see if there's something to share that we've picked up from this exercise as a group. And also, if there's some kind of follow-up question along the way. And if you write to me directly, I will try to write back to you directly as well. All right. Any thoughts or reactions, send them right to me. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this theme of relationship with others begins our process of getting into our Elul mindset. Shalom.